The classic Resident Evil 4 isn't a traditionally scary game, but it succeeds phenomenally well at establishing panic and terror. The way in which the Ganados slowly shamble towards Leon displays a creepy sensation, and the musty, gross environments allow these tense moments to take place in a setting with actual atmosphere. Adrenaline always runs high no matter the enemy, but the creepy Regenerators and Iron Maidens are the single most terrifying enemies in the game. When I first came across them, I freaked out and didn't play the game for like 2 months. It shook me like no other. The Last of Us isn't a traditional horror game, but horror is one of the many hats that The Last of Us wears. In a few areas, the designers really take the hostility of the infected and put them in some dark, dank environments, turning The Last of Us into a pretty effective horror game. Tiptoeing around was tense, but causing a ruckus brought forth the panic and the terror that Resident Evil 4 did so well. Horror is just another aspect that The Last of Us nails when it wants to. Silent Hill Downpour gets a bad reputation for being one of the many sour eggs of the Silent Hill franchise, but while it lacked the nuance of earlier titles, it had its moments. Some of these moments included screaming organs and dark creepy rooms that offset the wonky controls. The creepiness is established beautifully through the fantastic sound design too, that makes every gross sound even more gross. While some fans wince at the sheer mention of Silent Hill Downpour, it had enough of the franchise's spirit to make it one of the scariest games out there. The Xenomorph stopped being scary at around 1979 when the movie Alien came out. The subsequent Alien movies ditched horror in favor of action, which, while not bad on principle, let the alien become more cool than frightening. Not an alien isolation. There is one alien in the whole game and it is dreadful. The way he stalks around slowly looking for something to kill, the way you can hear him scurry through the vents. Every possible action that the alien does is to remind the player that he is superior. He can kill you, and he will. Isolation re-aliens the alien in the best possible way, in a way in which the movies could not do. While it can be a toss-up between Dead Space and Dead Space 2, the original Dead Space barely edges out its sequel because of the mystique surrounding everything. The fear of just not knowing what the necromorphs are gives the foes a sense of mystery that only adds to their overall scariness. Gameplay is mainly derived from Resident Evil 4 with all the same positive aspects, with a few changes that make it more fluid but just as tense. Dead Space is the shining example of how to do a horror game in the modern day. The version of Silent Hill 3 that I played was basically broken. The frame rate hovered in the teens and the sound was garbled for about a quarter of my playthrough. Despite those issues, Silent Hill 3's journey twisted my mind in a way that only a Silent Hill game could do. The misty town offered itself to more psychological scares over jump scares, meaning it was more of a constant sense of crushing dread over a few monster closets. I didn't want to be in Silent Hill, but at the same time I didn't want to leave. Outlast arms you with a camera. It's not even a great camera too. This sense of helplessness may be a little frustrating at times, but avoiding mental patients and the naked crazy doctors puts you in an easy position to get scared witless. Having to hide and run within the disgusting asylum was a tense experience that did not overstay its welcome. And that's a good thing too. I don't know if my heart could have taken any more of that game. Shinji Mikami, the man who was one of the key minds behind the whole survival horror genre, promised to come back to the genre that he started in a way that would be faithful to its origins. I guess he saw what Capcom did with Resident Evil and couldn't sit comfortably knowing that they destroyed his baby. Enter The Evil Within, which combines all of the best parts of Resident Evil 4, Dead Space, and Silent Hill, and funnels them all into one package. The twisted setting reeks of Silent Hill. The shooting and overall design is both a healthy mix of Dead Space and Resident Evil 4. In essence, it's equal parts psychological horror, survival horror, and action horror all in the same game. The fact that each pillar is phenomenal is an achievement worthy of a high spot on this list. All of these games so far have been the result of me looking for a good scare, not Slender. Stalking the woods looking for the pages while the mythical Slender Man creeps around is utterly crushing in a way that I almost can't experience. It could be the middle of the afternoon and I still would almost poop my pants in terror. Slender is free too, showing that true horror can be done relatively cheaply. PT should be for me. It's free, it's on the PS4, and has the famed Hideo Kojima behind it, but I can't bring myself to play it for more than 30 seconds. It's too cramped, too quiet, and too disturbing for me to ever want to actively play it. It brilliantly plays on the player's expectations in the most devious ways. Going through the same hallway over and over allows the player to get comfortable, and then boom, you soil yourself and need to exit the game. I don't know if Silent Hills, the game in which this is a playable teaser to, will hold the same amount of scares, but that won't take away from PT being the most terrifying thing I've ever experienced. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.
Corner, just
I know.
one fucking corner, dude. Just one corner, and I'm like getting jipped.
Ah!
Oh my god! God damn it!
Fuck! God damn it!
That was fantastic. You got that fucking reaction? Ah!
I don't know, cause I fucking jumped too. God damn it.
Oh!